bite from an unknown bug resulted in unusual spots over this woman's body. Here's what happened next. While out in the yard mowing her lawn one day, Abigail was bitten by an unidentified bug. Soon after, she was struck by a mysterious rash which saw the skin by her ankles turn green and purple. Gradually brown spots and an unbearable itch spread all over her body. Doctors were stumped, and no one could diagnose what it was. Abigail from Oklahoma believes that all her problems stem from cutting the grass one day. She remembers that she was bitten by an insect in her yard, but she had no idea what the bug was. It wasn't long before her health began to suffer. First, a mark appeared on Abigail's ankle. She described it as being green and purple in color and around the size of a quarter. However, the unexplained blemish began growing bigger, and the rash began to spread across her body. Several weeks after the blemish first appeared, a dark mark appeared on Abigail's arm. But then another spot appeared, and this continued until it covered her arms, hands, torso, and legs, including her feet. Abigail also had some blemishes at the back of her head, but luckily her face was spared. But the rash on the rest of her body was so unsightly that she permanently covered up. Even in the hottest of summers, Abigail would wear long sleeves and pants to hide her condition. Abigail was embarrassed by the multitude of spots that dotted her skin. And people weren't kind about this either. They looked at Abigail as though they would catch whatever it was that she had. As uncomfortable as it could have been to have others staring at these blemishes, living with them was even more excruciating. The itching that the spots caused was unbearable and often kept Abigail awake at night. She scratched at the irritations until the thick hard spots would bleed. The rash affected every aspect of Abigail's world. She had difficulty sleeping at night, and during the day, she felt that people would judge her without even knowing her. Furthermore, this condition also caused problems at work. If ever Abigail started to itch while at the office, it would turn into a major distraction. Abigail recalls how she even had to leave her desk once because the itching had gotten that bad. Abigail had even visited a dermatologist who performed a biopsy on her bumps. However, the best diagnosis on offer was that she had prurigo, which is a catch-all term for itchy spots. The poor woman was left none the wiser as to what was causing the affliction or how to stop it. Abigail had tried every medication that the doctors had prescribed to treat her condition. However, no matter what lotions, pills, or medications she was given, nothing eased the itching or stopped the rash from spreading. After living with this condition for 7 years, Abigail was growing desperate for some relief. With nowhere to turn, Abigail decided to contact the doctors of a television show. Dr. Sonia Bartra performed an array of tests on Abigail to discover what was causing her condition. Dr. Bartra described this prurigo as one of the most interesting cases she had ever seen. Through the tests that Dr. Bartra performed, she learned that Abigail's rash had developed as a result of 2 underlying conditions that had never been diagnosed. The dermatologist also learned that both the disorders could easily be treated. Could this be the end of 7 years of discomfort for Abigail? Dr. Bartra explained that the blood test she performed revealed that Abigail had a case of hypothyroidism. This occurs when insufficient levels of hormones are produced by the thyroid gland. The condition is actually a fairly common one and results in a chemical imbalance in the body. This can give rise to several symptoms, including fatigue, depression, and dry skin. And if the chemical imbalance remains untreated, the condition will grow worse. However, in Abigail's case, Dr. Bartra discovered a secondary, which exacerbated the problem. Abigail's biopsies revealed a much rarer condition called urticarial vasculitis. This is an autoimmune affliction that causes blood vessels to swell. Combined with hypothyroidism, Dr. Bartra believed it was the cause of the itching and unsightly blemishes over Abigail's body. There was more good news for Abigail. Not only had the cause of her condition been identified, but it was also easily treatable. This news came as a huge emotional relief for Abigail. Having lived with this condition for so long, she had lost all hope. Now the first step was to regulate Abigail's hormone function. Once the hormones were balanced, the urticarial vasculitis would then be treated to make the itching stop. Once the swollen blood vessels had settled down, work could begin on the blemishes. Abigail had been taking the wrong medications for years as other doctors were only looking at her symptoms. Now, with a treatment plan in place, Dr. Bartra referred Abigail to another doctor closer to where she lived. Abigail was glad to finally be free of this horrid condition.